Take this one's first off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in every school we go into, we ask them a question. We say, do you think? We say Macbeth is responsible for the death of King Duncan, and then we have like a sliding scale, and they go and stand on disagree, agree, strongly agree, neutral, and whatever. And for that first question, is Macbeth responsible for the death of King Duncan? They're all spread out. They all have different opinions about it. When we ask them, is Lady Macbeth responsible for the death of King Duncan? They swing so wildly to agree.
Yeah.
So many more 14, 15-year-olds are willing to absolutely blame Lady Macbeth.
Particularly boys, I find,
Particularly
as well.
boys, but I find boys, girls,
It's a bit of a
lots
mix,
of them. And I think that's risky, kids, because at the end of the day, Macbeth is the one that holds the knife. Macbeth is the one that has the idea in the first place. Before he even goes home to see his wife, he says, "Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires." What are those black and deep desires? Well, they're regicide. And I've said this to all the kids as well. I'm like, when you've done something something stupid, and your parents, your teachers are telling you off, and you go, "Oh, my friend made me do it," and they always say, "Oh, and if your friend told you to jump off a cliff, would you?" And they're like, no, I wouldn't do that. So coming back to the question of free will, like, Macbeth can always say no to her, right? She does convince him. She does manipulate him. She does emasculate him. She calls him a coward when everyone else has been calling him brave. She asks him, "Are you a man?" in the banquet scene. Like, she definitely belittles him and makes him feel like less of a man. But she doesn't kill the king. Macbeth kills the king. She says she would, and that if he hadn't resembled her father when she slept, she would have done it.
She kind of lives vicariously.
And we don't know if she would have done, because that's not what happened. What happened was Macbeth killed the king, and what's important is Macbeth didn't know where to stop. Lady Macbeth has no hand in him killing Duncan. Lady Macbeth has no hand... Sorry, did I say Duncan? She has no hand in him killing Banquo. She did not tell him to murder the sleepy grooms. She said, "Let's just smear them with blood." Yeah. She has no hand in the murder of Macduff's family, children, young Seward, none of that. She wanted to kill the king and be done with it. Sure, she didn't use the nicest means to do it. I'm not saying she's without guilt, but please, kids, guys out there, for centuries, we've been taught by men, mostly, for centuries. And for centuries, we've been told that, like, Lady Macbeth has been dripping poison into his ear, which she has, but the decision was his.
Yeah, no, fundamentally, it comes down to him.
So, people are so ready to blame the poisonous, evil woman, but it takes two to tango. Sure, her language echoes the language of the witches. She does call on the spirits. We had lots of conversations about how aware is Macbeth of her witchy tendencies.
Yeah. When did it start? When did it get darker?
But well, we women, we do things differently to you guys. You know, we move with the moon. And there's power to be taken from that, and what she wants is more power. She says on Sex Me Here she wants to have more control, to be like a man. She can only do it in a feminine way.
She's much more of the metaphysical than she is. She has much more of awareness of higher things than him. I think he's very much of the earth. Do you know what I mean? I think Macbeth is very much salt and earth and ground. And all this paranormal and supernatural stuff he can't really handle. It's her that she has a bit more of a... She doesn't just dabble in it, she grasps it. Do you know what I mean?
And she, in speaking to our director, Gabby, and speaking about the child that they lost, we've discussed the fact that she feels like she has something wrong with her, that she has inherent evil in her, because she was not able to to make a baby that survived, and this is her way of dealing with that. You know, if God couldn't save her baby, then she's going to turn to pagan things for the answer. Like, I think we're always searching for answers, and if something fails to provide one, we look elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
So Lady Macbeth says to Macbeth, I have given suck and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. She has breastfed, and where is that baby? We don't know. Something has happened, something probably terrible, because it's no longer with them. So, and then linking that back to like her turning to witchcraft, maybe because she thinks there's something wrong with her, because she can't
provide life.
Provide life. She can't make life. If she can't feed milk, she'll feed you poison. She says, and turn my milk to gall. And she says, hie thee hither that I may pour my spirits in thine ear. It's inverse feeding. If she can't feed to give life to a baby, she's going to feed
my ambitions,
your ambitions with her poison and her words instead of her milk, because that's all that she's got that works. I think.
And I mean I find the whole thing about gender in this particular play fascinating, just because on face value they fill their gender roles, and that Macbeth is the strong soldier and the military guy and the leader, and he is the angry, violent one, and she is the wife. But in private, they do swap in a lot of ways their gender roles. She's the one that keeps herself together all the way up to the end of the play, because he would be completely lost without her. She's kind of his tether to reality.
Pull yourself together.
She's the one that's really pushing for him to go ahead and grasp the thing, because she wants. Whereas Macbeth,
she's the one constantly telling him to dissemble, to be like the innocent, look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it.
And
be bright and jovial with your guests tonight. Come on, pull yourself together. And he repeats that back to her constantly. And it's always, I always find that very funny, because it makes me think, because it always feels like Macbeth has just come up with this on the spot, but it's of course because she's been saying this to him over and over and over again, and she's. And she's so. I think
ironically. And when in private, he is the more emotional. He's the much more emotional one. He's much more insecure and much more unsure of himself and softer.
She constantly has to reassure him.
Yes, he needs to be constantly reassured. He needs to constantly be reminded that she loves him. Even when she's arguing with him, she's like, such as I count thy love. She's
using their relationship as a bargaining chip.
Yeah, it's funny.
And also. Sorry, I just got scared because you were doing this. I'm just going to pause that out.
Snip that out.
No, I've got no one to say.
No, think.
Othello? Or no? Yes?
Oh no, I've moved past that now. I'm so sorry. And, well, their marriage is... I remember Gabby saying this in rehearsals and me being like, oh God, of course. They've probably got one of the... healthiest relationships in Shakespeare
at the start. Well,
even though it's so toxic.
Yes.
So toxic, but they're equals.
Yes.
They tell each other everything, and crucially, she doesn't abandon him.
No, she never. She stays with him right up to the end. But I find that fascinating when we've got a place.
Even when he does all these terrible things that was like not in the plan.
Yeah. Well, you've got a play written 400 years ago, set in the Middle Ages, and you've got a couple where they treat each other with respect and equality, but more even that. She is the one that is.
They tell each other everything.
They tell each other. They constantly communicate, and where it goes wrong for them is when they stop communicating.
Yeah.
And that's when it falls apart. But at that start, I love their relationship at the beginning, because it's so. That's what makes it a tragedy to me, is that I do think they love each other.
Very, very deeply.
It's just they're not particularly good for each other.
No.
Yeah.